Welcome to Minutes with Mango, Life in Motion. I'm your host, Johnny Mango. This is the place where we inquire about lifestyle, culture, and careers. Weekly, we meet with new guests that make a contribution of their insightful stories about their careers and how those careers impact their lifestyle and culture. Hello, everybody. This is Johnny, and welcome to Minutes with Mango. Today, our guest is someone who's been through a lot, I would think, and I think she's going to share some of that with us. I'd like to introduce you to Ashlea Dillard, who is a former firefighter and now helps a lot of EMS people and others through certain things in their life, and we'll let Ashlea talk about that. But welcome, Ashlea.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Johnny. It's an honor and a blessing to be with you. So
Well,
thank you.
thank you. So, Ashlea, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to doing what you do now. Kind of take us on a little trip of where you've been and where you're going.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to start with where I am now and what my mission is because everything I've been through in my life leads to where I am now. So my mission of where I am is on a mission to end suffering and to help other people experience complete liberation. And for me, this has echoed what my journey has been like. And I have a background, I've spent a good chunk of my life as, I started as an EMT, then I went to school to become a paramedic. And then eventually I ended up being a firefighter paramedic. So kind of did a bit of both worlds. And at that time, looking back now, I realize like how much was actually going on with me and how I was doing a lot of suffering in silence. So there was stuff going on within me that I didn't understand, or I didn't even really pay attention to or recognize that there was conflict going on within me. And so I had some of my own struggles, had watched a lot of other people go through struggles, which ultimately led me to one of my mentors and hypnotherapist, actually, which I know we'll dive into later, but encouraging me to really take the next steps in what this next path of service was going to look like for me and what did I want to do with the other part of my life. Like, and my time where I was at, I thought, you're crazy because I'm just going to do 25 years of this career and retire and be done because that's what everybody does. And I listened to him and I decided to go back to school to finish all my schooling around becoming a licensed professional counselor, which has led me down the road of becoming trained in neurosomatic therapy and hypnosis, all the things, but reconciling with myself that it was going to be impossible to do both things, to both stay online as a firefighter and to try to serve in the mental health side was way too much. And I was already hitting burnout levels where I was. And so I made the decision to advocate for myself and make a different choice, which was move into the world that I'm in now. And now I get to work with people and I'm blessed like every day. I don't even think about how cool is it to do this job and to totally help people turn their lives around and live in this totally different state that they may have never thought was even possible. So that's a little glimpse about
All
who I
right.
am. Yeah. So
Well, thank you. One of the things that I find interesting, and I know very little about it, but I would think that people like paramedics, firemen, EMTs face a lot of trauma in their work, trauma of others. And I'm really curious how that affects that industry. How does it affect you when you come upon a car accident or somebody having a heart attack or, and they die in your hands, basically? I mean, how, what's the effect of that?
yeah, so it's interesting because when you're in it, I think we get very not calloused, but unaware of how these really are big things that most times people in their lives are never going to experience, or they may only experience it once. Especially when you think about death in general, is most people only experience that with, friends or family. But death, it would not be uncommon for us to see, an unlimited number of people passing away within a 48-hour shift. So you're constantly exposed to things that most people would either never see or see only once in their lifetime. And that repetition of seeing that trauma, of how it really does, it changes our brain. It literally rewires and reforms our brain to take away some of that sensitivity response and put up a lot of walls and rigidity around feeling emotions or processing things, because it's just too much for the brain and the body to process. And we do a really good job at shoving things down and pushing things away, and not recognizing that many of the behaviors that we have are direct reflections of all of this accumulation of stuff. Some people refer to it as, like, you mentioned death particularly, and people dying in your arms, as we kind of joke about having this book of the dead for each one of us who have this, who knows how long the list is of people who have passed away, and realizing that we hold that gets stored within our system, that gets stored within our body, and it does impact us, even though we don't necessarily always see it that way, or we feel like we almost wear it as a badge of honor at times, where I've seen all this crazy stuff and experienced all these crazy things, but that does take a toll on us.
Yeah, and I would imagine on everyone in that industry that they're all dealing with the same thing in different ways, of course. Well, just tell me, what led you to be a firefighter and an EMT? How did you, where were you coming from when you made that decision? I'm just curious.
Yeah. At the time, I was working with a local fire department in running some of their fitness and wellness programs. So we were going into the stations and spending a lot of time training them and working on, doing yoga and a lot of different things. And I had initially, like way back in the day, was always my desire to go be a nurse, to go to nursing school. So I always kind of had that deep within me of, like, I love the medical side of things and I liked taking care of people and helping people.
Right.
But once I got immersed into fire and EMS, it was the coolest ever, because it was never the same job or situation. It was definitely not the 9 to 5 sit at your desk type job.
Right.
But it was just so much fun, and you had to use all of your brain power and skills to problem solve and act in the moment, and you had the resources that you had at the time. And so I really just fell in love with it, and I fell in love with the people and the culture, and just this really unique sense of what it's like to work with people for 48 hours straight and spend a lot of time together. And so
Yeah.
that was my introduction in, and then kind of everything fell into place from there, of getting the training and the schooling that I needed to, and then it just kept growing and expanding from there.
So, in your experience as a paramedic firefighter, what's the and really it's all about helping others, but what's the one thing that you didn't expect that you learned?
I think what I didn't expect that I did learn was, even though we have the opportunity to show up for people within their worst moments and help them and serve them, is realizing, like, how truly is important to pay it back to yourself, and that you have to be taking care of yourself at the same time, because it's the classic saying, you can't pour from an empty cup, and realizing that you do have to make an investment in yourself. You do have to advocate for yourself. And I don't think I realized that probably until after I left, honestly, of how I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't doing what I needed to do. um, in the long run to have a healthy, sustainable career and not get the compassion fatigue and the burnout that many first responders end up with.
So how does one, I'm just curious, how does one take care of themselves in that type of work? What is it when you say taking care of yourself? What does that entail?
Mm-hmm. And taking care of yourself is a mind, body, like whole integrated approach. So it's taking care of your physical body, whether that is through, exercise, movement. It's like fueling your body with food. Like I always kind of joke, like you can't live off of gas station burritos and energy drinks, but we try. We try. So it's taking care of your physical body. It's doing things that bring you into that state of mindfulness as well, whether it's taking a walk outside or being with your pets, or if you're into meditation or you're into yoga, those kind of things. It's taking care of the body, but then also taking care of the mind. And I think for a long time I had the opinion that we only go to therapy when things are really bad, or we only we, we only seek help when things are catastrophic. And that's part of like the mission. My mission moving forward is to help people understand, like, this is not when you're in the depths and the pits type thing. This can be used for you as more of a maintenance program. And I think that's part of taking care of yourself, is having those outlets. And there's so many different things you can tap into now, of really making yourself a priority so that you can show up in the job with your fullest capacity and have a really healthy career and a healthy home life.
Right. So a more balanced approach. I could
Yes.
see when you're working 48 on and 48 off, isn't that how it typically works? 48 on, 48 off, that you're away from your family for 2 straight days, and then you come back, and then about the time you normalize, off you go again. I would think that's one of the challenges. Um, what about what is the depth of mental health in the first responder community? How deep do you think the issues are with folks on that career path?
It's I wish I should have pulled the statistics for you to give you actually like data and facts around it, but we're still first responders collectively, whether you're talking about fire, EMS, or police, are still one of the highest risk categories for suicide. And I think that's a huge statistic that speaks for itself. Is
Yes.
something is very broken if like people are getting to the point where there is no more hope and they see death as the only answer moving forward. So that, I think, speaks for itself a lot. Is in fact, like it kind of like, we make a lot of dark humor jokes in in the world of first responders. So there's a kind of a joke around like going to funerals more often for people who commit suicide than people who just die of natural causes.
Really?
And like how that's normal, like that's to me not okay. That's a screaming statistic saying that there's a population that's suffering in silence because they're not getting to the right kind of help that they need, I guess I should say. So I think it does go deep, and I think it impacts everybody, from the guy that just started who's a brand new rookie to the 5-year guy to the 25-year guy, and after they retires. Like, if you don't handle what you need to, if you don't find health and harmony and balance and peace like in your life, and then you retire, like your life, a lot of people struggle through that. So I think it's a deep thing. I think it's getting better because there's a big movement and a lot of people starting to use their voice and speak up about their stories and where they were, and it helps when we hear each other's stories. So the movement is happening, but we just need to keep pushing that forward, because I'm tired of hearing about people who get to the end, or people who are basically destroying their life. And so I think there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah. The one thing I've never really understood, and I've only heard stories about this, but even doctors, when they're doing their residency and their internships, are on call, working a floor for 24 hours straight. And I've always, if I had to be up 24 hours and make a life and death decision, I don't know what the quality of that decision would be. And I don't understand the general medical community of why they practice, not just EMS, but even the physician, why they, you know, they're supposed to be dealing with health, and it seems like that's the most unhealthy thing you could be doing is being up for 24 hours in an ER, for example, as an ER doc, making decisions. And I don't understand it. And I'm really not, I don't know if you have any insight on that, but I just don't know why that happens
Mm-hmm.
and why they practice that.
Yeah, I think it's twofold to why it happens. Is one, there's a lot of push on organizational need and what the company needs, and hey, we're short, we need you to stay, or
Yeah,
what would have been a 12 8-hour shift, we need you to stay because we don't have anybody. And there's a
yeah,
huge element to that of getting mandatory or having to work more.
yeah,
But there's also the personal accountability side of it, of like, you become addicted to it. You
yeah,
become addicted to this lifestyle of self-sacrificing and putting other people before you, and feeling that like sense of validation that you get from it, or the perceived sense of validation. And this whole, it's a badge of honor that we wear. I talk a lot about, of, well, like, look how much I'm giving, look how much I'm doing.
uh,
And I think it goes both ways. I think it's both the organization side and the personal side of what you think the job brings you.
yeah, yeah. I know someone who, they were an EMT. They're not anymore, but they were an EMT out in Arizona, and they were either working 72 or 96-hour shifts. And I never understood that. And some of the stories they told me about having to, and it was northern rural Arizona, so sometimes they had to um, take people all the way to Phoenix or Albuquerque, and it was a 5-hour drive.
Well,
And they they would make the 4 or 5 hour drive down, and then turn around, come back, and then turn around and go back again. And
mm-hmm,
all of a sudden, a 4 or 5 hour drive times two is round trip is 10 hours. You're driving 20 hours. And I asked this person, I said, how do you do that? He said, well, when we did head back, one of us sleeps in the back, to kind of
mm-hmm.
catch up, and we just keep going. And I can't imagine doing that. And I can't imagine somebody, if I called 911 and somebody came out to help me with whatever my problem was, that they were that tired to to help me.
Right. Yep.
That's the scary part. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to knock EMS at all. It's the opposite. It's like kind of a concern about how all you guys work and what you do. So, well, let's shift gears a little bit. What introduced you to hypnosis?
Yeah, so I was introduced to hypnosis back, man, many years ago, when I first went to a hypnotherapist to work on some issues I was having in confined spaces. So with fire training, we do a lot of work within confined space, and it was
Hmm.
just something that I had never done. I was not used to. My body did not enjoy doing it. So I needed to do some work around it, and I went in with no idea what I was getting into, or no expectation around what hypnosis was or is. And fast forward to here and now I do the things. So now I work as a hypnotherapist, and it's one of the most incredible, amazing modalities that I've come across and experienced both personally and professionally working with clients. Is it allows us to tap into this very natural but altered brainwave state where we can work cohesively with the subconscious and the conscious mind to actually address the deep roots of what people are holding on to. So any beliefs or perceptions or emotions, memories that get held in our subconscious mind that are really dictating all of our behaviors and patterns in life today. And it's an incredible modality of being able to do that kind of work that creates like instant change for people, which is just so cool. I mean,
Really?
oh yeah, it's like crazy how simple it is, but it's just such a powerful modality, and it can be used for anything from, if you want to stop smoking or you want to lose weight, to pain management and working like with medical issues or procedures for medical stuff coming up, but then also like stress and anxiety and sleep and relationship problems, or like moving forward in your career or performance, like all those kinds of things. Anything that the mind affects, like hypnosis can work on. And so I've really grabbed onto it and employed it within my practice, and it's just been like the most awesome, such an amazing tool that I think Gil Boyan, who's a real pioneer in the field, says it's the therapy for the people. And it really truly is. Like, it can just fit for so many different issues that it's very underutilized, in my opinion.
Wow. So I'm assuming you work with a lot of EMS type, firefighter type folks as clients. Um, how do you how you help those people through their trauma? I'm assuming they come into you with some type of traumatic issue based on their work, and what they're experiencing. What is it? How do you help them? What do you do?
Yeah. So yes, I work a lot with fire, EMS, police, military folks, and their spouses. I think like we all kind of gravitate towards each other, so there's a bond of commonality that we all have, uh, having gone through the work in some form or fashion. So yes, that I do attract a lot of those people, and it is often that they'll come in with some kind of call or something that's been sticking with them or bothering them, or they're having dreams about or nightmares about, or just kind of not being able to shake that. A lot of that is something they come in with, and we work with specifically of clearing and processing the memory and the perception that's held with that call particularly. But really, a lot of people honestly come in with a lot of the same stuff that a lot of other people do, is like they're overwhelmingly stressed, or they're anxious, or a lot of depression shows up too. It's that
Yep.
perpetual shoving things down and refusing to look at things. And then it's no surprise why we feel depression. Sleep issues, a lot of struggle with addictions. So everything from alcohol to, gambling, to excessive spending, to pornography, all kinds of different things that people struggle with in that. Lots of issues with self-esteem and confidence, which is all kind of related to this idea of clearing the traumas, clearing the beliefs and the ideas that are held within our system, and how those are really just perpetuated in the job. So as a first responder, the beliefs that you've been holding on to are just kind of amplified. So a lot of work around clearing the present day trauma, but then also clearing whatever is still there within the system that's causing these patterns of behavior to show up. So
Do you work just locally, or do you work online, or how far out do you reach?
yeah. So within it's interesting in the way that the laws work right now when with being a licensed professional counselor. I'm in Colorado.
Yeah.
I can do counseling therapy within the state of Colorado, but you can do more of the coaching side of things more nationwide. So it's a bit of a technicality, and they're working on what's called the counseling compact, where states can join this compact to where therapists from any of the compact states can see people in any state. So that's already like in the works, in motion. But yeah, I do a lot of work in person. I do a lot of work virtually. Just kind of depends on what people need and how I can show up for them.
Can you do you do your do you do your hypnosis work online too? Virtually?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep.
So you could be
Very easy.
hypnotizing me right now and I wouldn't know it. No.
I could. Yes, we could hypnotize you right now.
Let's
But I
not do
can't
that.
make you do anything you don't want to do or you
Oh,
don't want to
okay.
say.
All
That's
right.
one of the myths around
You know, I mean,
hypnosis.
so you won't make me make noise like a donkey or anything like
No,
that. So, okay.
no.
Um, uh, so okay, so you're available basically in most states or a lot of states that okay, well that's great. Our listeners need to hear that because they may have somebody that could use your help out there. So, um, well, let's talk about your podcast for a minute. I know you have a podcast. It's called Sitting Around the Fire. Isn't that the name of it?
Yep. Sit around the fire. Yep.
Sit Around the Fire. So tell us a little bit about your podcast.
The podcast has been so much fun. It's coming up on, I think it's next week, will be a year old. So it was my project of, okay, I know I can only see so many people one-on-one per week. There's only so many hours available, but how do I continue to move the mission forward and to continue to serve other people? And I really got inspired to, okay, go do the podcast.
Yeah.
So it definitely stretched me. I am still like, I don't love hearing my own voice. It's a weird experience. You probably can resonate, but
I can relate to that. Yeah.
yeah, but I just showed up. Like I decided I was gonna go all in and put it out there and not have to worry about being perfect or having it all put together, but just showing up who I am. And if one person hears an episode and that impacts their life or changes things for them in any way, then it was totally worth it. And that's exactly what it's there for. So it's a platform mostly geared towards first responders, military, and their families, but anybody that's looking for extra support. We do a lot of storytelling and guests who come on to share their experience of stuff, struggles and triumphs that they've been through, things that they have done within their life that have helped them, and some other really unique and awesome voices out there that just have really cool missions that they want to help serve other people. And there's an element of education with the podcast too, where I get to get on and ramble about stuff that usually I'm seeing within the practice. Like people are bringing to me with issues that I'm like, hey, if they're dealing with it, like on some level I'm dealing with it, and someone else is dealing with it.
Right.
So we talk about all of that kind of stuff, but it's really been like incredibly fun and just exciting to be able to do it and to put it out there.
Oh, good for you. All right. And that's the Sit Around the Fire podcast.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, Ashlea, how does somebody find you? If somebody's listening to this and they want to find you, how do they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to our website, which is www.sitaroundthefire.org. You can connect with me directly there. We can also connect we're on social media too. So at Instagram, sitaroundthefire.co, as in like Colorado. Sit Around the Fire podcast is there too. So that one you can connect with me. And we're on Facebook and Twitter, all that kind of stuff. And you can connect directly through any of those platforms. And whether you have a question or you're interested in doing some of this out of the box type work, I can definitely help guide you in the right way or support you the best that I possibly can.
Wow, that's cool. All right, so you're available for more clients, I'm hearing,
Yeah.
and if somebody wants to get a feel for who you are even more, they go to your podcast and listen up, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. What's the what is the what's the biggest traumatic event you experienced as a first responder?
I'm gonna well, I mean, yeah, it's hard to pick just one, but I'm gonna share like one of my top favorite, coolest, like not, I guess it could necessarily be traumatic in its own way, but actually like has a pretty cool outcome to it. So, everybody calls EMS like when things like you've waited for so long and now like things are
Yeah.
really bad
Yeah.
kind of scenario.
Yeah.
So it was the middle of the night, and we got a call for somebody that was having stomach pain. And so we get in the engine, head over to the call. It doesn't take us very long to get there. And we walk in, and there's a gentleman sitting on his couch, and his wife is there. And the wife is pretty upset. She's like, he woke me up out of the middle of the night. He said his stomach was hurting super bad. We don't know what's going on. Like, but he's sitting there on the couch, and he looks like, by just looking at him, he looks okay. He looks fine. There's nothing screaming at me of, oh goodness, we need to move now. So we start to do our assessment and hook him up to like our cardiac monitor, check his blood pressure, asking him lots of questions. And he was saying, it was a normal day. I watched the Bronco game and went to bed. And then I just woke up with this pain. And so as we're sitting there talking, he actually like ended up going into cardiac arrest. So he just completely went unconscious. And it was like just shortly after we had gotten him on the heart monitor so we could see what was going on with his heart. But I was working with, I have a term for them that you can probably imagine the big, he was actually like an ex NFL player, but a big Mongo type
Yeah.
guy. It was one of the guys on my crew, and he looks over at me and he goes, I think you just killed him. And I said, I didn't kill him. Like, I didn't kill him. Like, he did it to himself. I didn't. So I was like,
Yeah.
let's get him on the ground. And we started CPR, started compressions and things like that. And he ended up being in a heart rhythm that was appropriate for us to use defibrillation to shock, essentially to restart his heart. And sure enough, as soon as we ended up shocking him, he woke up and sat straight up on his living room floor and said, "What are you doing to me?" And we're all looking at each other like, you just died. Like, you literally just died. Your heart just stopped a minute ago. Like, and then sure enough, he went back unconscious, back into that same heart rhythm. And we shocked him again, and sure enough, he woke back up and said, "Why do you keep doing that?" They're like, "Why do you keep dying on us?"
Yeah.
And just shortly after that second shock, we usually dispatch 2 crews and an ambulance to cardiac arrest because it takes quite a few people to do everything that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So the second crew had walked in, and it was actually one of my good buddies, and he saw the look on my face, and he's like, "Ashley, what's going on?" And I was like, "You tell me, because he keeps dying and coming back to life." So we're continuing through our protocol and our algorithm, and shock, he would wake up, go back unconscious. We went through this quite a few times, and we were preparing other meds that we were going to give him. And one medicine in particular, we were talking about, okay, let's get this drawn up, get ready to give him. We had shocked him. He woke up and he said, "I'm allergic to amiodarone," and then went unconscious again. And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me. Like, what in the world?" So ultimately what ended up happening is we did finally get what we call return of spontaneous circulation. So we were able to stabilize him. He stayed awake the entire time through the transport to the hospital, and he ended up leaving the hospital successfully. And I'm assuming he's living a healthy, vibrant life now.
Wow.
I don't know that for sure, but yeah, so wild. Only stuff that you really would see on TV, like, because that
Yeah.
doesn't happen often at all. But
Yeah.
it was a very cool call where a very positive outcome and just a really crazy scenario.
Wow. That's wild. The guy kept going out on you. They're not
Yeah,
supposed
and
to
then
do that, right?
no, coming back to life, which doesn't usually happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, it
Wow.
was awesome. So
Ashlea, I really appreciate you joining us today. I find it very insightful, and I really want to actually congratulate you on making a transition from helping others to helping your fellow workers, basically, your fellow EMS people. And thanks for joining us today.
oh, well, thank you for your, kind words and your words of encouragement. And it's really, truly like just such a profound blessing for me to get to do this work and to show up for my brothers and sisters who are still out there doing the job and still working, and to be able to serve them in this way and to do this as a profession really is like mind-boggling. So I'm so honored to be able to do it, and honored to be on your podcast and to have your guests listen in. And I hope that they found value out of something and enjoyed it, and just know that you are not alone. Like, there are people here to help you, and don't waste time to reach out.
Thank you again. You have been listening to Minutes with Mango, Life in Motion. Subscribe to hear a new and unique guest each week as they comment on their life's journey and share experiences with lifestyle, culture, and career. You can always find us at minuteswithmango.com.